Bye-bye. because I kept seeing a lot of negative stereotypes as pertaining to males. The term toxic masculinity spread through the lexicon like a wildfire, and very few people actually know what that means and what it's about. Not everything that a male does is actually toxic. And I think it's very important that we as a society explain to young boys what it means to be a positive male role model, what it means to be positive about their masculinity, and let them know that it's okay for them to be young men. It's okay for them to actually explore their emotions. Many of us have heard phrases like boys don't cry and be tough, dust yourself off, and all that good stuff. And those things have their place in society in some regard, but without context, they become very, very dangerous. Telling a young male that they can't cry is asking them to suppress their God-given emotions. Telling a boy to brush it off and be tough, and boys be tough and just get through it, doesn't actually teach them how to get through it. Being a man is not forged through toughness. It's actually forged through the journey, through the toughness, through the ups and downs, through the ins and outs of life. Just saying get over it isn't enough. Show them how to get over it. Teach them. Let's start with a personal journey, my own personal journey. It's okay, Mom. I was born in a small town called Camilla in the great state of Georgia. I was born to two young parents. My parents were 19 and 20, respectively, and we were not well to do at all. My parents were very young. They were inexperienced. They had no idea what it meant to raise a child. In fact, it was my mother's first time, doing anything. And she got me. Growing up, I had my father in my life. My parents are actually married. Technically, they still are married. And you would think that will be a great experience because I was part of a two-parent household. But a two-parent dysfunctional household is not a great child made. And so growing up, I saw my father. He did what he was supposed to do. He provided, but I got none of the love that I actually needed because he grew up in a time where a man had to provide, and that's it. They never had to express or show love. And so I went the majority of my life thinking that as a man, I didn't have to show love to those I care about. I just simply had to provide and be there, be present. And that was it. And as many of you know, that is not it. But that what society puts on us. It puts us in little boxes. Men provide, female nurture. But in fact, both male and female can actually be nurturing parents. I have three sons. And though I am tough on them, because life will be tough on them, and they have to be able to weather the ups and downs of life, I still have tender moments with them. Many of you have seen my shorts where I sing with my son Josiah. If you on my TikTok, you're seeing me go on beach trips with my son Jordan. And if you guys are subscribed to the channel and you actually go and watch our Generation Me podcast, you see me have sit down generational talks with my son Keanu. I had to learn that. That was a journey because I was stuck in my ways too. And in some ways I still am because of what society have said. And instead of changing it, we put more on it. We relegate men to simply what we can do, what we can provide, what we can build. But men are more than that. Our children are more than that. When we have our children and when they're first born, they're born with infinite possibilities. They have the ability to do anything we support them to do. We allow them to do. We provide a space for them to do. But when we start putting chains on them, saying boys can't do this, girls must do this, we in effect, we limit them. We limit our children. And it's devastating when it comes to male children. Not that females are not important. I'm not a female. I cannot, and I probably will not speak to that. I will have guests on the show to speak towards that. But with male children, it's devastating because not only are you relegated to what you can provide, what you can obtain, and that's your value. What does that do to a person who can't attain those things? What if all I can be is a person who rents and have a $40,000 a year job? Am I less of a man than a man who makes $100K and has his own house? These are the things we do to our children under the guise of love, under the guise of we're just trying to make them tough. It's more than that. We have to start loving these boys. Yeah, there's a balance. Yes, you want them to be strong, but you must have a balance with these young boys. Josiah is 1 year old. I allow him to be 1 year old. I allow him to cry. I allow him to go through things. He's a baby. He's supposed to go through this stuff. As he ages, I will adjust my parental guidance accordingly. How I nurture him and how I nurture Jordan and how I nurture Keanu are all different. As they go through parts of life, I give them little nuggets that I went through, that I wish that my father would have given me. But he didn't give it to me, and it's not his fault because his father didn't teach him. Because again, this is generational. Trauma is generational. Dysfunction is generational. If we continue to tell boys that it's not okay to be a boy, we will continue to get half-baked men, unable to be emotionally intelligent, unable to actually provide to women what you guys want us to provide for you. We need the space as well. We need to stop relegating young boys or young men to only what they can provide, or even their sexual prowess. It's more to life than just that. Yeah. Every man is capable of being a great husband. Every man is capable of being a great father. But it first starts early. It starts at this stage. Men, you have to stick around for your children. I don't care if you and the mother, you and the wife, or you and whoever don't get along. That does not extend to the child. Women, your anger, you being upset does not justify you keeping the father of your child away from them and thinking that you can magically be two parents. You cannot. When my father and my mother split, not divorced, split in around 1999, 2000, my mother did all she could to be both parents. And let me tell you, and she watches my podcast, she did the best she could, but it was not enough for a young man. She had 4 sons. And we all had deficits that we had to overcome because she was not designed to play two parents. If women or men were designed to be a single parent, then we can just break children without another person intervening. 2 incomes, helpful. 2 nerves to expire and get tired is helpful. When women, you know this, raising that child alone, it frustrates you, it angers you, you're tired, but you keep going because there's no other way to do it. If you had that man beside you to help carry that burden, would your life be easier? The answer is simply yes. So as we grow with our young children, as we grow, especially with our male children, we got to start seeing them as children first and males second. There'll be a time and place to talk about the gender specific struggles. And trust me, as we go on to episode 2, 3, and 4, we would definitely cover the specific male journey, the specific male struggles. But I wanted to come in and just have you guys prompt and primed for what I'm talking about this season. It is extremely important for us to stop demonizing what manhood is. Whoever hurt you, that is indicative of that man. And I guarantee if you peel back the layers, that man was taught that by his father, or he simply learned it from what he was around. Because we do not plant our children in nutritious soil. We put our children in bad neighborhoods, and some of us can't help it because it's all about income pay. We put them in bad neighborhoods, or they're around bad influences. Certain songs should not be played in front of children. If your child if you like certain music, that's fine with you. You got to think about that child's a sponge. If you let a little boy watch women twerk around and shake their behinds and all that good stuff, what do you think you're telling that child? You're telling that child all a woman is simply a sexual gratification tool. A sexual gratification tool, and women are way more than that. Way more valuable than that. If you let a man beat you up, or you keep a man around you that mistreats you, your daughter and your son, but we talking about boys, your son is watching it happen. And in his mind, he's saying, oh, well, that's how men are supposed to treat women. We gotta be fair how we treat these boys. We gotta let them cry. We gotta let them go through their emotions. We gotta let them go through the ups and downs and be there for them. Hey son, it's okay, baby. Go ahead and cry. It's okay, it's a cry. But don't keep crying. That's why I tell my sons, it's okay to cry. Don't continue to cry. Find ways to actually work through whatever's ailing you. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to fall in love. It's okay to be frustrated. We have an emotional range. And how do you learn how to actually navigate your emotions if you don't allow them to explore them? It doesn't make any sense. We got to start using common sense. Mothers, love your son. Fathers, love your son. Society, stop demonizing what it is to be a man. Okay? We'll talk about those traits. Trust me, we'll talk about those traits. But tell your sons you love them. Tell them that it is okay for them to go through the things they go through. It's okay to kiss your child, fathers. It's okay to kiss your sons, even the older ones. If you have grown sons, give them a hug. Comfort them. Read them stories. It's okay. No one's gonna think you soft. To me, what a weak man is a man who doesn't love his child, doesn't show that love. Just buying them stuff or giving them a place to live ain't enough. Tell that child you love them. Let's do this together. Let's start to rebuild what it means to be a man. It is important for our future, for our country to go on. We need to start building men and stop producing broken boys. Thank you guys for joining me. I love you all, and I wish you all the best. Stay tuned for season 2. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Quick Talks. Good night. To all the men, young men, and boys out there, you are more than what you provide. Your value is greater than that. Take care of yourself. Be honest and open with your emotions. That's where your true strength lies. Not all wounds bleed. Some live quietly beneath the surface, in the hearts of the men who were told to man up instead of speak up. We praise men for enduring pain, rarely ask what that pain costs. We tell boys to be strong, but never show them what to do with the hurt. Today's episode is for the men who smile through storms, for those who carry trauma no one ever believed they could have. This is the cost of silence, the hidden wounds of male trauma, because healing starts when silence ends. Male trauma is real. We often don't think about it or talk about it because they don't talk about it. We, as men, don't talk about it. Society has convinced us that any type of emotional expression is a form of weakness. But this has allowed for many young boys to be taken advantage of. In fact, one in six boys before the age of 18 have been sexually abused, assaulted, or taken advantage of. This is something that, as I stated before, often goes underreported and untalked about. And when it is broached, the topic is broached or talked about, it's often ridiculed, shouted down, or it somehow pivots to what females go through. This is a very detrimental part of a young man's life if he cannot express how he feels and what it done to him. Because if he's not allowed to express that emotion and get that anger or shame off of him, it transforms. Let me tell you a story. And not just my story, but the story of many men who have gone through what I've gone through. This story starts with a boy, a young boy, innocent to the world. He has dreams, he has aspirations, and then he seek out a mentor to help him achieve those dreams, especially in the area of sports. Or he wants to be an academic. He seek out a teacher, or maybe his parents have friends who are taking an interest in him, and he trusts the wrong person, and they groom him. They make him feel seen. They make him feel heard. And he loves the attention, especially if he comes from a home without a father, which is all too real for many of us. And once they have primed that young man to be okay with certain advances or touches, they make their move. A little peck here, a little touch here. And before you know it, they have taken advantage and ruined that young man. And Lord forbid if it's from the same gender as that young man, because that's even in deeper shame. It's not saying that if it happens from the opposite gender, that it will also be a type of shame. But usually young boys can write that off in their head as, oh, that's cool, that I got an older, an older woman. She took interest in me, blah, blah, blah. Even though that has its effects too. Because I've been on both sides of those things. Both sides. And I'm gonna tell you, both sides have ruined me, and it took a very long time for me to put the pieces back together. But once that young boy goes through that shame, that anger, that sadness, it takes root. And let's say that young boy goes to a parent or someone he trusts. He tells a story. All too often, you'll hear something like, that doesn't happen to boys. Or, man, especially if it's a family member, that can mess my life up. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? That causes him to question what happened to him. It causes him to question whether or not he should say anything. And thus, he goes quiet. He doesn't say anything. And that anger, And that shame, it festers, it grows within him. And that young boy then transitions to a man with insecurities, a man with trust issues, a man with a warped sense of what love actually is. But then society and his heterosexual counterparts or his homosexual counterparts expect him to be loving, kind, available, vulnerable. How can he? When all of that was used to manipulate and abuse him. You see, this is not something that's very easy. That's why it's important to pay attention to your boys. We all have a knock of the girls. It still happens. But people are very wary if they see a grown man with a young girl that may not be his daughter or anything of that sort. But when do we ever see that with a male? When do we ever question that? Why is that grown man walking that little boy? Why is he always next to that little boy? We never think about that stuff because we have our own biases. And we see women that's extremely vulnerable. And we see little girls that's even more vulnerable than women. But we don't realize that a boy is not a man. The strength that one's accrues as he gets older is not inside that boy at all. That boy is just as vulnerable as that girl. And even more so because he's not protected. So as we go forward in our life, let's make sure we particularly pay attention to those boys. We start to ensure that we're not forgetting about their story, and we're not undermining their story. Listen, be an ear. You can very much save that boy from its destructive adult form. Masculinity. We talked about it in our last podcast. Nowadays, it's more demonized than almost ever before in human history because the prevailing thought is that masculinity is toxic. And yes, people will say, oh, no, we're not saying all masculinity is toxic. We're saying toxic masculinity is toxic. But if you don't be precise with what you mean by toxic masculinity, you demonize the entire thing. Me as a Black person, people have demonized my people by the works and acts of a few. I go into a store, you follow me. I never stole anything. But that stereotype of those who did follows me. It creates a monolithic view. The same thing goes with masculinity in men. We look at the actions of some men or the actions of the men of old, and we attribute it to the men that are currently living right now. And so those men will change. We will adjust to what the world wants. So we will push back our masculinity. We will shapeshift. So imagine if that young boy who has been sexually abused, who has been taken advantage of, whose masculinity is already in a fragile state. What do you think happened? What do you guys think happens? In a regular form, when a masculinity is challenged, what happens? Man become aggressive. So if in a person who's already damaged, chained, his masculinity is already internally challenged, what do you think would happen? That person becomes equally violent. Actually, more so, he has to over masculinize, if that's a word, himself in order for people not to see his shame. So you'll see those men, and what it looks like in a worldview and practical view is he can be very, very in shape, or he's hyper masculine. He has to indulge himself in money, cars, success, women. He wraps himself in all the things that are deemed masculine, because underneath that veil, that mask, lies the little boy that never got that protection, that love that he was due. That's why it's important to not demonize a person for how they are without actually getting to the root of it, especially in circumstances like the one I've been talking about the last, 9 minutes or so. Untreated trauma does not disappear. It simply mutates. It transforms. It sabotages. It destroys. It whispers in the ear of that young man, "You're not enough." They know. You can protect yourself. Now look at you. How can you protect that one? How can you protect that child? And it destroys that person. And those predators who were never held accountable because you didn't believe that boy, it to go on and destroy more people. They hide in plain sight. Pay attention. How can you identify them? Let me tell you. If that person seems unnaturally attracted to your child, keep an eye on her. If that person does not have a meaningful adult friends, adult relationships, and they always seem to be more comfortable with children, keep an eye on them. You want to see what it looks like in practical terms? Think about that substitute teacher that everyone talks about, that stud that went there. I'm not saying she's a bad person or what. I don't know anything about her. But how she came off to someone who has been through this type of trauma. My eyebrows raised immediately, but even before she got into the classroom. When she came in dressed the way she was dressed. And I'm a Black person. So I don't want to hear about, that's how I know how we dress. But I also know what professionals dress like, because I've been a professional majority of my life. I worked in healthcare for a very long time. I've been an administrator for a very long time. And I would never come in with chains and all that good stuff. And that's me as an adult with adults working under me, with patients in oncology that are usually 18 plus. So if I'm going to a school to teach, I want to put my best foot forward. I want to show the kids how they may have to walk through society. Because we all code switch. No matter who you are, we all code switch. If you're a lawyer, you ain't gonna have this crazy ebonics way of speaking, because most people will just pass you on by. You can still be true to who you are, but still understand you have to be respectable. Let's not kid ourselves. But back to the story at hand. For all my men out there who have gone through this type of trauma, who have been abused, used, and cast aside, and you couldn't tell your story, I'm speaking to you now. I see you. I've been through this. I thought I would never come out on the other side. My first name is Quentin. I say it almost every podcast. The person who hurt me first had the exact same name as I do. And it took a very long time for me to ever enjoy hearing my name. I love my name. It's a unique name. It's not too many names that begin with the letter Q, but I love my name now. But for a long time, he stole that from me. He made me feel low. He made me feel dirty. He was older, younger, manipulator. He even made my mom think at first that nothing was going on and think that I was the problem, until she seen me react a certain way once I got old enough to protect myself. The older women who pursued me made me seek out older women. I didn't even date women my age because I have been conditioned to look at older women a certain type of way. And I do mean 5, even 10 years older than me. My mom can tell you this. I dated a woman who was her age. My mom is 19 years older than me. So these are the things that can happen. You would think it's cool. Oh man, you got an older woman? No, I was a child. I should have been with other people my age. So I see you. I've been through what you've been through. Came here. You need me. In the comments, write brother, or write, send me a praying hands emoji, or a heart emoji, black heart emoji. I'll reach out to you. I'll be that person to listen to your story. It's many of us, 1 in 6 men. We live in a country of over 300 million people. You are not alone. Get that off your chest. Write it down. Reclaim and heal that boy that you used to be. You deserve it. This has been Quick Talks. The price of silence. Let me pray for all of you. Please bow your head. Heavenly Father, I come before you today, asking you to heal those men who have been abused, used and cast aside for someone else's gratification. Allow them to reclaim those broken pieces. Allow them to heal so they can go on to become the great man they were destined to be. I don't care how old they are. Help them heal that boy inside. And Heavenly Father, let me be that catalyst that showed them the way. And this I pray. Every man reaches a point where standing still starts to feel like sinking. The past has been faced. The pain has been named. Now it's time to move. This episode is about becoming a man in motion, not just existing, but evolving. Not chasing validation, but walking in value. See, manhood isn't about power. It's about purpose. It's not about control. It's about character. So let's talk about what it means to live with integrity, intention, and forward momentum. Because healing without movement is just a pause. Welcome back to Quick Talks, Season 2, Episode 3, Man in Motion. When I say man in motion, what does that mean to you? I'm not talking about staying busy. I'm talking about living your life with direction, with purpose. Too many men mistake activity for progress. They're moving, but they're moving in circles. Doing the same exact thing, the same exact way, and standing in the exact same situations. They're loud, boisterous even, but they're saying nothing of value. They work hard, but they're building nothing for the future. When I say a man in motion, that means that man is living with purpose. Everything he does is carefully thought out. It's planned. He sacrificed his now for the future. Being in motion means your energy is aligned with your values. It means your actions reflect your standards. It's waking up every day with a quiet understanding. Today, I'm building something my future self will thank me for. What is the difference between a man of purpose and value and success and your everyday man? I'll tell you. It's simply discipline. That word carries so much weight. Many of us have ideas, we have goals, but very few of us have the discipline to bring those goals into reality. Discipline is the difference between wanting and becoming. Most men know what they want, Few have the discipline enough to earn it. Discipline means you keep your promise to yourself even when no one's watching. It says no to shortcuts. It's showing up when you're tired, praying when you're unsure, and focusing. Distractions whisper your name. Let's be real. It's easy to post motivations, affirmations, but it's hard to live them daily. But a man who masters discipline, he also masters the world. A man without discipline is like a car without steering. Powerful, but destined to crash. There are two main pillars to becoming a man in motion. As we discussed earlier, we have discipline, and now integrity. Integrity is that mirror that keeps you honest. When held up to your face, it reflects back who you really are. Integrity is doing what's right because it's right, not because it's rewarded. It is not loud. It is not boisterous. It is quiet. It is silent. To know if you have integrity, ask yourself these simple questions. Do I tell the truth even if it disadvantages me? Do I honor my commitments? Do I treat people fairly even if I have nothing to gain? Think hard, think long, and just be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest, you don't have integrity. So if you cannot answer yes to all three questions, we have work to do. And most of us cannot. And that's fine, because we are a man in motion. We are becoming. We have not become yet. A man of high standards doesn't chase reputation. He builds legacy through consistency and repetition. As we know, no one's perfect. We all have strengths, we all have weaknesses. But what are some common pitfalls that most men, if not all men, fall victim to when they're trying to become a man in motion? What are the pitfalls that hinders discipline and integrity? Let's discuss. There are three. There's a lot of different categories, but they fall upon these three umbrellas. We have ego, we have anger, and we have validation. Let's start with ego. Ego is the killer of network. It's the killer of friendships. It's the killer of relationships. The ego says, I don't need anyone or anything. And as you already know, it is very difficult getting through life not needing someone. We all need someone. In your professional life, if you want to get to the top, you would need a mentor. You'll need someone to take a chance on you. In your personal life, you have to curtail that ego in order to make friends. No one wants to be friends with a person who thinks they're better than everyone they meet. Control your ego, young man, old man, men in general. Control your ego. The next is anger. As we talked about in the previous episode about emotional control, men have it really difficult when it comes down to expressing our emotions because we're taught that we only really have a few of them. Usually anger, usually stoicism, and we can be sad, but don't cry. Those are usually heaped upon men. But I'm telling you that it is important to explore your entire emotional range. Why? Because if you do not explore it, you can't control it. And to me, one of the hallmarks of a fully realized man is emotional control. And the destroyer of anything that you build is the emotion anger. If a man cannot control his anger, he usually self-destructs. He fights, he argues, he says mean and unruly things, and that can lead to the degradation of all that he has built. So it is important to control your emotion. Lastly, validation. Now, this one is the one that everyone looks for, whether it's YouTubers like myself, people in your personal life, people on TikTok, at work, kids to their parents. We all need some form of validation. But to seek it out continuously, to do what is necessary to get it, it can leave you a slave to the opinions of others. And no one wants to be a slave to anything. When you are a man in motion, a man that has purpose, a man who's disciplined, a man who has integrity, the validation will come. The Bible says faith without work is dead, but your works is what we're looking for. If you're putting in the work, someone or somebody will eventually notice. But remember, integrity is not doing something to get validation. It's doing it because it's right. When you have purpose, you're doing it because that's what you want to do. And trust me, people will see it. Think about this. There was someone in the world one day that took small square shaped pieces of paper with adhesives at the top. They thought about that as an idea, and then they packaged it, presented it, and now we all use Post-it notes. Think about that. Post-it notes. Someone literally thought of square size pieces of colored paper with adhesives to write down small little ditties and notes on. And now that person is probably a multi-billionaire at this point. So I'm pretty sure when they were doing that, it was just for their own benefit, and then it grew. So keep on moving with purpose and integrity, and stay clear of the pitfalls of ego, anger, and validation. So if we have pitfalls, then we must have what I call mountain peaks or mountaintops. And there's 5 of them that I believe that every man of standard, a man of high moral standard, or as they call it nowadays, a man of high value should have. And pardon me, because I have my notes, I wrote them down. We have consistency. It's showing up the same way, whether in public or private. Consistency builds repetition. It makes repetition easy. You don't have to think about it. It becomes second nature. Then you have accountability. It's admitting when you're wrong without trying to justify it. That's an issue that a lot of us have. It's always, well, I did do it, but accountability is saying, I did it, I'm sorry, I'm ready to face the consequences. Consistency, accountability. The third is emotional control. We spoke about that earlier. A man who does not have control over his emotions is subject to be puppeted by anyone who can trigger those emotions. It is very important to control thy own emotions, because when you have that emotional control, nothing and no one can put you off your path. Feel everything, but master your response. Leadership through service. True leaders do not dominate. They do not brag. They do not hinder. They actually elevate. They mentor. They push their employees, their staff, their mentees to their higher purpose, to their best form of themselves. That's what real leadership is. If you are trying to become a leader or a person of high economic value, just so you can brag or stun on someone, 9 times out of 10, you won't be successful. And if you are successful, it won't last very long because, again, most people's wealth, most of the economic industry relies on some form of customer service. And if no one likes you, no one will support what you are putting out, and you will then lose all of that hard work. And the 5th thing is purpose over pleasure. You heard me right. Purpose over pleasure. So all those young men and young boys that are running after these young women, these young ladies, I want you to pump your brakes. You have to first build yourself, to a point where you don't have to necessarily chase or run after them. They will see the value in you and they'll come to you. Contrary to popular belief, women don't like chasing, but they do like things that seem beneficial to them. Do you think Chris Brown is chasing anybody? Do you think Elon Musk? Elon Musk, no offense to him, but he's successful, and thus it's easy for him to gain the affection of women. Even if it's for money, it doesn't really matter. He gained their affection because he's successful. So instead of chasing and being distracted, running after the affections of young women and women in general, focus on yourself, put all that attention on the task at hand, which is getting to the level of success you want to be. Remember, you're a man in motion, but you're also a man in focus. It's very important. One thing that can help you on your journey of becoming a man in motion is to build a community of supporters around you. Women are the queens of building community. They have that sister circle, and they get together and they will motivate each other, and they will achieve great things. Men, on the other hand, we tend to not have that same thing on our side. Yeah, you have it in little small enclaves, but we need to start building a brotherhood, a community for men to motivate each other, to restore positive masculinity, to push each other to the highest versions of ourselves. No man is built to walk alone. Isolation is where weakness multiplies. They say iron sharpens iron. What that means is, show me your friends, and I'll show you where you'll become. Get men that are also on the journey to become men of purpose, men of value. Find men who want to be better than their predecessors, who want to be better than they were yesterday. If you are the strongest man in your group, find another group. I know you hear terms like alpha and giga chad and all that good stuff, but humans are not like animals. They can be an alpha whatever, alpha dog, alpha whatever, but humanity, we don't have an alpha. Because alpha means one, right? Alpha is the top dog. How are there 2 million alphas out there? That doesn't make any sense. So stop trying to be, I'm an alpha, I want to beat my chest. Because the thing about being an alpha is you put a target on your back, because those betas under you will try to bring you down. And that is not community, and that is not brotherhood. Brotherhood is, oh man, go for that CEO position. But we got your back, man. We rooted for you. They pour into you the strength necessary to get to the top of that heap. But they also hold you accountable to the things you say and do. They do not nurture your failures. They go to the drawing board and try to figure out how to avoid them. You don't need yes men. You need men who can help you get to wherever your value, wherever your goal is. Are you moving with purpose or just motion? Are you leading with discipline or drifting with distraction? Mm-hmm. In order for you to become a man in motion, you have to start small. Wake up earlier. Set one goal and actually finish it. Call that mentor. Find a man within your circle that you look up to, that you see as a man that you would love to be one day, and ask him, would you be my mentor? Mm-hmm. If you don't have a man like that, I am available to mentor. I can do it via phone, email, we can text. I don't care. I'm relatively young. I'm 37 years old. However, I have accomplished a lot of things in my life, and I'm still becoming. I have not become the man I would like to be either, but I have hit certain milestones in my life that I'm very, very proud of. You don't have to be perfect. You just start moving in the right direction. I don't want you guys to
rush anything. In today's era where you hop on TikTok, you hop online, you see young people or even older people like with lavish lives, cars, money, women, all that good stuff. You just want to get to that as quickly as possible. But rushing through to get to a level that you see other people obtain, you miss critical steps. First and foremost, you don't know what they had to do in order to get to that level. You don't know what they had to sacrifice, because there is a sacrifice. In business, we have something called opportunity cost. So the energy you spend doing this, you can't do this. So all that time you spend building yourself up, you're gonna miss the parties. You're gonna miss the fun nights with your friends. You can have those if you budget for them, because budgeting is more than just your money. It's also budgeting your time. So you may have to skip out on Dante's birthday. You may have to miss that boys trip or that pool party because you have to study to get that degree that you need in order to get to that next promotional step. Or you may have to, skip that out of the country trip with your friends because you're trying to save in order to pay off your car. All that stuff is important. The world does not need louder men. It needs men who move with purpose. Men who protect peace, honor promises, walk in truth. Being a man in motion means your steps are guided by vision, not validation. You no longer are reactionary in life. You're directing it. So today, take the first step, because a man standing still can only dream, but a man in motion can become everything he's meant to be. I'm your host, Quentin Wimberly. This is Quick Talks. A man in motion doesn't chase validation. He chases purpose. He builds, he leads, he loves with clarity. He lives with standards. And every day, he steps closer to the man he was always called to be.
That's why I do not take it for granted, and I don't forgive any man who will